Germany's power grid was much more vulnerable than realised. One estimate is that if just 1% of the bombs dropped on German industry had instead been dropped on power plants, German industry would have collapsed. Generally speaking, there was no such thing as an average fighter pilot. You were either an ace or a target. For instance, Japanese ace Hiroshi Nishira shot down over 80 planes. He died while a passenger on a cargo plane. It was common practice on fighter planes to load every fifth round with a tracer round to aid in aiming. That was a mistake. The tracers had different ballistics, so at long range, if your tracers were hitting the target, 80% of your rounds were missing. Worse yet, the tracers instantly told your enemy he was under fire and from which direction. Worst of all was the practice of loading a string of tracers at the end of the belt to tell you that you were out of ammo. This was definitely not something you wanted to tell the enemy. Units that stopped using tracers saw their success rate nearly double and their loss rate go down. When Allied armies reached the Rhine, the first thing men did was to pee in it. This is a pretty universal from the lowest private to Winston Churchill, who made a big show of it, and General Patton, who had himself photographed in the act. One of Japan's methods of destroying tanks was to bury a very large artillery shell with the nose exposed. When a tank came near enough, the shoulder would crack the shell with a hammer. The only nation that Germany declared war on was the USA. During the Japanese attack on Hong Kong, British officers objectified Canadian infantrymen taking up positions in the officers' mess, abiding by the rule of no enlisted men allowed.